Hello YouTube, welcome to my first time 15 Spires of Ascension as I play Holy Spec instead of Discipline. I have put the affixes below in the description. The reason I'm playing Holy Spec this week is because it is amazingly insane this week with the amount of healing throughput. Plus with the current stats on my gear, I thought it would actually be more optimal healing spec for this week specifically. However, mana can sometimes be an issue, so it's always handy to go prepared with mana pots, and my racial ability helps every 2 minutes, gaining 3% mana back as I'm a blood elf, along with Symbol of Hope when timed correctly, and of course eating mage food in between the big packs as the tank pulls them. As much as I love my Discipline Priest, I'm also enjoying Holy Spec just as much, and even more as I've been playing around with a very strong legendary Flash Concentration, which each time you cast Flash Heal has its casting time reduced by 0.2 seconds, and healing is increased by 3%, stacking up to 5 times. So as you can see on my UI, I have a weak aura just to the right of my character, showing how many casts of Flash Heal and when to be casting Heal instead of Flash Heal, as Heal is quicker than the Flash Heal once I hit 5 stacks. So as you saw for our first pull in Spires, we used Bloodlust and our cooldowns to kill the mobs quickly as possible, so we can have our cooldowns ready for the first boss. Keeping in mind I need to always use one flash heal to reset my 5 stacks every 10 to 12 seconds, so my stacks do not reset, as this keeps happening throughout the instance, which then costs more mana if I was to use 5 flash heals all in one go. On this pack, it's a good idea to CC the Forceful Mender and always interrupt the Goliath at all cost. I just noticed that the mage accidentally broke the CC on the Forceful Mender, but that was not a big deal at this time. However, an interrupt was just missed on the Goliath and everyone took heavy damage as I was trying to top everyone's health back up. I do believe the DK died and the tank nearly also died, so there was a lot of healing output on this fight, on this pack right before the boss. Could have gone much better, but then again it could have gone even worse, so that wasn't too much of a big deal. So on the first Prideful, normally when it comes to the Prideful on multiple dungeons, I tend to have really low mana. I need to make sure I have at least quarter of a mana. If I have less than quarter of a mana, I then tend to use a potion or Symbol of Hope or my racial if it's off cooldown, because the amount of healing there is throughout the Prideful and the ticking damage it does to the whole group can be a lot of damage, and a lot of healing is needed. But dotting everyone with a renew, keeping your prayer mending out, making sure your circle of healing is also used all the time. It's not a big deal keeping circle of healing as long as you get your stacks up and you can then just keep healing one after another. Because I do have a talent that if the previous person will also receive 35% of the healing done if I use heal or flash heal on the next person. For the boss fight, it's pretty straightforward. Just dodge the orbs and keep everyone topped up. Dispel as soon as possible. Always dispel the tank last, as you're constantly healing him anyway, as he's taking damage. And when it's prideful up and you've got unlimited mana, I mean, you can just spam renew. And I kept on PIing the druid, and then I realised, hang on, I'm probably best PIing the DK, which you'll see later on. So when you're healing on this fight, make sure you're not standing too close to the bird, because you might get hit by the orbs. And I couldn't believe how close I was from getting hit by like 2 of them orbs. I don't know how I missed that, but I guess I was lucky on that bit. Otherwise that would have been instant death. This next pack up the top on one side with the cats, they do a lot of damage, and hopefully by now in the 15 key tanks will definitely know that by now. I know my friend Nelix here, he definitely knows the amount of damage they actually do to a tank, because the amount of bleed damage they do. So it's always best to tank and kite these as much as possible. And as a healer, all you have to do is just keep a dot up on the tank and just keep on healing him individually, which is not a problem in Holy Spec, especially when you've got your 5 stacks up and you can just spam heal. It's always good to use Shining Force to blow them back if need be, but then again, because we're crossing over to the other side to go kill the other mobs on the other side, depending on what the tank prefers. So it's always best to stack and line of sight the mobs that the tank pulls on these steps, simply because the spears can be extremely deadly, as you will about to find out, and LOS in these mobs is always definitely the best thing to do in my experience. As you can see, just one spear can really take off a big chunk of someone's health. Being prepared for this, just dot everyone up as with a renew, just in case. Make sure you keep your prayer and mending out all the time, and making sure you keep your 5 stacks up as well. If you can do that, then you literally have no problem. And then you just need the DPS to make sure you don't stand in the sanguine. As I was casting flash heal on the tank, then he just got out of sight, so I've lost my stacks. No problem. Again, on this pack, it's a bit tricky. Make sure the interrupts get out. The druid uses Solus, which is a good play. Just keeping a renew up on the tank, and there was only one dispel, so it could easily just dispel that one at a time on this. So I just managed to keep my stacks alive there. Yeah, just in time. Managed to dot all the renews out just before Pride 4, get Prayer Mending out. So I've got my Sanctify ready, my Guardian ready if needed, and my Serenity, which is my big direct healing. I wasn't paying attention to my stacks, and my stacks just dropped off, so because I had enough mana, I know I can just spam flash heal, and now I have unlimited mana. Although having unlimited mana, this pack can still also be very dangerous, especially when you get hit by the spears. And I don't have many cooldowns up for this pack. However, just keeping my stacks up, constantly healing from one to the next, then the 35% healing applies to the previous target that was healed. It's always a good talent to go for. I was thinking of taking the mana, the 10% mana regain talent, but honestly, you don't really need it, not in Mythic Plus. there's just more healing output by taking the 35% on the previous target. This pack's always good for AoE stun and then nuke the birds down. I think Nelix used his sigil. I've also forgot to mention, as soon as I see aggro on myself, like the red box around my player frame, I always hit fade. Fades every 30 seconds, reducing your threat. It's saved me so many times, just like then. Just like then. Also, when going into combat, because I take instant aggro normally on some mobs because I'm pre-healing, it's always a good time to use fade about 2-3 seconds into the fight until the tank's got aggro. So as you can see, there's quite a bit of healing dished out here as I was prepared for this. Plenty of mana, keep my stacks up, dot on the renews, keeping the tank up. Mana at this point's not too bad. I mean, I could use Symbol of Hope after this, or I could eat some mage food. Sometimes when I'm healing a pugged tank and he's taking too much damage, I do like to stand at distance and then leap of faith him. And by then I think they normally get the idea that they're taking a lot of damage. I'm hoping that anyway. But I know Nelix, he knows what he's doing, which is always good. He is a good tank. And I'm just constantly keeping him up as much as I can. So this pack on the stairs can be a bit tricky sometimes. But always focus the cats, since they take the most damage towards the raid, well, mainly the tank. I don't know if I used PI here, I don't think I did. Should have used it on the DK. I definitely need to use PI more often. But at this point I was thinking about the next pack. So I've got my Hypothesis ready just in case more healing is needed. It's always good for a Demon Hunter to tank this personally, because the amount of movability they have, they can literally get away and always move the cats out of the Sanguine quicker than any other tank. So again, Prior falls up, dotting everyone with Renew. Obviously my Prayer of Mending has a 25% chance to leave a Renew behind when the target is healed, which also helps massively. Is why I try and get Prayer Mending out at all the time, every 10-11 seconds. I did feel like I was a bit slow at healing people on that Prideful, but I was mainly watching where the beams were going, because if you get hit by one of them, it's very deadly, very nasty. We managed to just pull this pack before the other pack came, and I believed everybody interrupted Goliath on this pack, which is definitely a bonus, because I literally do not have Hypothesis up for this, and it could have been a wipe if an interrupt got through. if it didn't get interrupted. When you have lots of mana as a healer and you see it's 71%, it's like, what, 8.8% more to go till Pridefall. Then it's like a bit more relaxed. You're not having to panic. Don't panic about worrying about using your abilities or cooldowns. And again, in this case, make sure you dispel the DPS before the tank, since the DPS would take far more damage from the magic than the tank would. But as you can see, my mana can easily get eaten up really quickly. Sometimes when going from platform to platform, I can just about keep my stacks up on the legendary. Use one flash heal before clicking on the bird, then the next one when landing, which I typed that, not too bad actually. Always get your prayer mending out first as much as possible. And that spear that the tank used to stun all the mobs, which is very useful. Highly recommended for anyone to pick up throughout the instance. As you saw just a moment ago, Sanctify is a big AoE heal. Now I've macroed that to mouse over, well, not mouse over, but like click it instantly onto the floor, which becomes very, very helpful. Don't always have to see where the green pattern is, because most of the melee and range in smaller dungeons like this one are practically together. So again, I have more than quarter of my mana, which is good. However, what's not good is the ad is still up. That ad really needs to die, because there's way more healing now that I'm having to dish out. It's not a big problem, it doesn't do much more damage. It does throw bolts on people, which can be dangerous. At this point I'm having to heal as much as I can, using cooldowns as much as I can. It was very dangerous and we was close to death, but as soon as the Pride died, that was fine. And to be honest, I didn't realise there was a mob alive until after the Pride died. Did think there was a lot of damage we were taking. Now, this is the worst boss I hate in this instance, because I'm constantly always getting hit by the beams, and as much as I try and avoid them, he always likes to jump on me as well and leave the dot on me. When the dot is targeted on a member, just keep a renew up on them. Make sure your stacks are up and just put a few heals on. And with that, your Echo of Light will just tick over and keep them up. Also, as I'm Ventunax, make sure you use mind games as much as possible. And this boss just died so quickly, it was crazy. Still had Prideful up at the end. Good tip, when you see the angel flying straight down the path, you can actually click on it before it gets to its destination. But doing that, then also making sure... I think I'll lose my stacks actually on this flight path because it's longer than 12 seconds. So yeah, definitely longer than 12 seconds. So there's one mob up front, up top of the stairs. If you have a priest in your group, it's always good to soothe him and skip him. You should never have to kill him, as long as the route the tank's doing is decent enough. So we can practically skip that first mob. And we can also skip the ones at the top of these stairs as well. So I would, because I'm in comms with the DH, I could soothe the middle lad, and then the DH will imprison the end one. Now this is a good tactic to have. Now I try to soothe that end one, which it does work if everyone can get around to the corner. It does actually work. However, in this scenario, I think we pulled by accident. And because I wasn't mounted, I nearly died on this. I'm not sure, I think I might have died. I know the druid consumed my guardian, and he died anyway. So I tried to keep him up. I also died and asked the DK to combat res me as soon as possible. I didn't realise there was only still one alive. Could have ran back, but at least we can get one of the casters alive to heal the other one, to resurrect the other one, sorry. So that wasn't too bad. At this point, since we barely needed to use combat res, I had faith in the group that no one was really going to die. So, on the third boss, it's always good to group up when you get the blue arrow above your head and stand away when you got the blast on you. Again, there's actually quite a lot of healing on this fight. It's more than what I thought, to be honest. So keeping a renew on everyone is definitely optimal. Keeping prayer and mending up all the time. Fortunately, my flash of heal, my stacks ran out, so I was trying to get them back up. But the problem with trying to get them back up all in one go, just look how much mana it eats up. That's why you always try and spread it out every 10 seconds to get a flash out. And when it procs, it's also really good when it procs. So it don't cost you any mana and you can reset your stacks. Dispel the tank as soon as possible. Keeping your renews up. I should have used mind games. And I should have done some DPS to the boss now to help out. Holy Fire, mind games, smite, put a dot of plague on. Shadow Word Pain. I was really glad and really happy for the people in our group knew exactly what they were doing, because this was a pod group. It was only me and Nelix that found this group, and everyone actually performed really well compared to previous pod groups I've been doing. It can become a bit messy from time to time. So we pulled these guys again for the percent. Again, I know how much healing it's going to take if anyone gets hit by the spears. So I'll just make sure I keep a renew on everyone. Luckily I managed to eat and get some mana back before this pull. And they managed to die pretty quickly, which is really good. So around about now, I told Nelix in Discord to say hi to YouTube in party chat. I think the guys in the group clocked on that I was recording. But I think Nelix accidentally hit ignore on me, so that's why I didn't see him type anything in party chat. So I think when he went to unignore me, I think he removed me from the group by accident. Although, if you know Nelix like I do, it's probably intentional. So now I was like, wait, what's happened? So, wasn't sure how to heal at this point, so I thought, oh, I'll just click on the tank and just keep him alive. Just keep Nelix alive. I mean, I'm pretty sure I could have pressed F1, F2, F3. That's all still default for me to select each party member. I'm not sure who actually heals like that anymore. I mean, I feel that's a bit unreliable. But then I suppose it all depends on what you're used to. So as he was trying to invite me back into the group, it just wasn't happening. I'm not sure if it's because we're in combat or I was about to be ported out of the instance. Either way, I think I kept getting hit by the beams. Anyway, after getting ported out, luckily, managed to get an invite back and then be teleported straight to the bottom of the angels and then get flown straight back up top. Good job, Nelix. We probably could have two-chested this, minus the couple of mistakes, maybe. But it was going well at this stage. So on each of these ads, what I always tend to do is dot a renew on everyone, just in case they get hit by the black beams. I don't know how that black beam didn't hit me, but that one did. Just make sure you keep your prayer and mending up, your renew up on the tank, and dot the others up if you have to, if you feel like you have to. I panicked a bit here. I was like, I can't see which direction they're all coming from, so I'm just like running around in circles trying to get out of them. I just lost my stacks then when I should have used my proc there. I felt like I should have PI'd the DK on this mob, or probably at probably the first one out of the three. And if you're a melee, just as a bit of advice, never stand in front of them if you're a melee, because you'll get one-shot. At this stage, there was a lot of healing and a lot of damage. Well, there was a lot of damage and I was doing a lot of healing. And I didn't see that one. But luckily, probably takes a while after that mob dies, so I was keeping the tank topped and then quickly releasing and running back. Yeah, I wanted to keep the combat res. I could have stayed at the top and let the druid combat res me, but I thought, well, in case somebody died in the boss fight, keep that combat res for that, because I knew I'd be able to get back in time and heal everyone up on this prideful. Because I was a bit behind, I'm having to be careful where I was placing the 4 beams. So onto the boss. Since we've got unlimited mana because of the prideful, just spam a renew on everybody. I should have spammed my flasher heals here just to get the 5 stacks. Making sure everyone gets into the blue dome for when the boss casts his dangerous ability. Always dispel the the DPS before the tank. It's always vital because the tank can take the extra damage. And this is where Holy spec comes very helpful, because you can literally dot renew on everyone. Keep everyone topped up. I've got Sanctify, Circle of Healing, Prayer of Mending. 3 awesome abilities to keep everyone up in that phase. And then Mass Dispel right at the end. Boom. It's like I cannot think of a better healing class for that phase than a Holy Priest. Apart from maybe a Druid. But they don't have Mass Dispel. Always avoid when he does the dash, as I see multiple people and myself always normally get hit by that. Again, just dotting everyone up with a renew, keeping my 5 stacks up, which I just managed to use that proc to keep my 5 stacks up, which is good. I like how I mass dispelled on top of that pedestal totem thing in the middle there. So at this point of the fight, I'm just spamming my spells, keeping everyone up. I saw that lunge the boss did. And it's a nice clean kill. Good job, guys. So I wanted to make this video a little bit different to my previous videos, as I'm taking in the feedback from friends and comments from other people, trying a new way to deliver new and satisfying content on my channel. I hope everyone enjoyed this video. I know I did. I hope I explained the basics on how to heal in Holy Spec for these specific affixes for this week. Next week, it does look like Discipline week, so stay tuned. Feel free to drop a like and a sub for more content like this, and hope to see you around. Thank you all for taking part, and have a good day.